Welcome back. Second panel of the Centre Court Masters Festival. And we've just already had a fascinating session that looks at some of the tremendous options out there and how individuals are then using them to grow both personally and professionally. So I'm delighted to have back Erika Hellberg. Erika is the Associate Director of Admissions for a really exciting MS in Quantitative Management that NYU Stern launched fairly recently, but already we've been talking about some of the tremendous career outcomes, even as students are studying this online program. And then Shani Mahalu. Shani is the Senior Director of Corporate Engagement and External Affairs, so handles many of those recruiter demands, the sort of skill sets that they're looking for, and how the Masters in Quant Economics at UCLA really is responding to both of that. For viewers that may not have seen the first session together, perhaps, Shani, that I can just go back to our broader question about why non-MBA master's degrees are proving to be such a popular choice. You had said earlier that it's now the fastest growing graduate program at UCLA, quite an achievement. What is it, do you think, that's making these specialized master's options such a popular choice in the current market?
Yeah, that's the million-dollar question. But I do think that there is a greater sense of clarity. I think, maybe post-COVID, and maybe it is something that has to do with the Great Resignation and all the desire and the aspiration of individuals to take on new challenges and to live, to the fullest and really be more intentional about the careers that they're having. And I think that we're seeing in the market a lot of change and a greater interest in non-MBA or the specialized programs because of the realization or the understanding of what is it that I want to go to school for, what kind of careers I want to pursue, and what skills are required for those careers. So if candidates are able to make those connections, then they absolutely will find out that specialized master's degree offer an incredible education that is very specialized, offer technical skills that are tangible, applied learning that can be immediately applied in the job market. And I think it's exciting. Data science is a booming industry. There's a ton of opportunity and potentially, right? MSBA is a big degree, MQE, some other specialized degrees that I'm not aware of, but I know they exist, and they have a very heavy focus on quantitative aspect, on economics, on finance. And so that's a big aspiration, and students are definitely looking to pursue those. If you didn't go for the computer science or the engineering, then here there is an intersection in business where you can learn managerial skills and how to be a great team member, but also live with the tangible technical skills that can really support decision makers in choosing how to move forward with their business. So I think it's just the evolution of humanity, of business, of our clarity in terms of what we want to accomplish. And it's just exciting to see all of that. And thankfully, we have that program at UCLA.
Right. There are schools, Erika, we won't name them, but they might be in Boston, they might be in Palo Alto, that have been fairly static. They still have their flagship full-time MBA program. And of course, Stern has a wonderful 2-year full-time MBA program too. But you've been busy because, there's the tech MBA, the fashion luxury industry MBA. You'd already talked about how the MSQM could be a feeder for those that then joined the part-time MBA program at Stern. It's not an insignificant undertaking to say we're going to design and launch a new program. What is it that you and your colleagues had sort of seen in the market that said, online delivery with this focus on quant is really something that the market's now looking for?
Sure. I joined the team 7 months ago, so I can only speak about the stories that I told when they were developing this program. But the reasoning is the same, right? As we look at traditional labor market information, both from government sources, Bureau of Labor Statistics, census data, as well as online job postings, and what we see in online sources, of course, LinkedIn, Indeed, things like that. There are skill gaps. And as technology continues to change, right? I won't disclose my age, but even the short amount of, or maybe long amount of years ago when I was in school, cryptocurrency was not a thing. Right. Machine learning was a very new thing. And so we have this large population of adult learners who have successful careers and also have gaps in them because technology is ever changing. And so comparing those job postings to those job profiles, we can start to see those gaps. And a large area is in quantitative data analysis skills. And so thinking about that need, as you just said earlier, right, about you can have a technical degree and then layer on that business perspective to be a great leader, a great manager. A lot of folks would go to a part-time or executive MBA for that purpose, but then to add that quantitative skill that is in high demand is really where kind of the foundation of this program grew from and continues to build on.
At the purely personal level, Erika, as we're slowly emerging, mustn't get ahead of ourselves from 2.5 years of a global pandemic and its impact. Do you sense that people emerge from this really eager for change? We've endured all of this uncertainty and the conditions and challenges. Do you think that that's now stimulated a sense of, right, now I want to go and do something really positive for myself?
Sure. I mean, since you said on a personal level, right, since the pandemic, I bought a house, got 2 dogs, started a new job. And so I can speak to that very directly, that there is this kind of coming out of the cocoon, so to say, and wanting something, anything different from what we experienced. And I think, anecdotally, that really played a part in the Great Resignation. And also, again, anecdotally, I think that played a part in our uptick in enrollment as people had quite a lot of time to read and think and reflect on what they want in life over 2 years of missing out on concerts and other things, right? There really was the shift in perspective. And I think I'm only one great example of how many people are looking for something new or different.
Right. I'm wondering, Shani, UCLA is very supportive for those that arrive with their partners, sometimes family. If I showed up with 2 Saint Bernard dogs to follow my MQE course, how we could also keep them busy and occupied while I'm in the classroom. Now, you talked about, the specialized efforts. When you then have that discussion with employers and skill sets that really are in such high demand, do you think that specialization helps your graduates to then stand out in an otherwise crowded market of MBA graduates?
Absolutely, yes. The job posting that we're specifically promoting or identifying as the right opportunities for our students are ones that require those skills, the R, the Python, the SQL, very strong quantitative skills that are not necessarily what students that pursue the MBA will not, only learn, but also come into the program with. I think that quant and the analytics is definitely something that students should bring to the MBA space, but it's not necessarily, they might say, I'm, more interested in organization behavior or in the, the strategic planning versus the statistic analysis. And so with those qualifications, I think the students definitely rise above the MBAs. And I can also share that the majority, not 100% of the jobs that our students interview for has a technical interview section that is very, very challenging and a barrier to enter into the data science space. And so in order to pass those technical assessments, you have to be very advanced in those the quantitative skills and also all the coding languages. And so we do a lot of preparation for those assessments. So it's not something that you can pass. Sometimes it's hard to pass, even when you're a student in an MQE program, for example. Yeah.
In our first session, when we were talking about the program itself and the sort of focus of the curriculum, you'd mentioned that incoming students that had worked at central banks around the world, or traders in London, perhaps someone in the military. As you then look at the kind of careers that they're going on to pursue, is there an element of transition, or is it acceleration? Talk to us a little bit about recent graduates and the sort of outcomes they've been enjoying.
That's a wonderful question. People that come from the military, if they're active duty, that are sent from the academy, usually they go back to the academy and they teach in the academy. They become instructors, and so they are sent to pursue. And I think that's a beautiful evidence to the credibility that the MQE degree provide to those that complete the degree. They can go back to the academy and teach. So selected individuals will be sent to UCLA to pursue it and then go back and teach. Individuals that had 9 years of experience as traders, for example, the individual had an internship with a startup company run by an MIT PhD, for example, and got a full-time offer to return to the workplace with this company. And so that could be acceleration. The individual came from London. He was at the bank, really wanted to transition into more of a research, quantitative based environment, and was able to make the transition. Some of the other students that come directly from, I do have a big Saint Bernard, by the way, and so if you hear dog steps in the background, this is my dog. And so individuals that come directly from undergraduate, so absolutely acceleration, they will come, and that's the majority, with maybe 1 year to 3 years of work experience as interns in their home country. So it can be anywhere around the world. And now they're landing wonderful positions. Many of them who want to stay in the United States, they will stay here. So I think that's an incredible opportunity to work abroad for them, but here with us. And in the companies that they would target, it can be in banking, it can be in consulting, or in data science, but wonderful opportunities across the board. And definitely, I would say, career acceleration to positions that are very well paid, and definitely the level of the MBAs.
Right. You'd mentioned, Erica, that the students in the MSQM get a taste of New York as part of the program, and maybe that then it triggers ideas for what they'd like to do. Talk us through, because of course many are then continuing to work. You gave the example of those that gain promotions as a direct result of some of the things they were studying and then implementing at work. So how do you look at the graduating class and the career outcomes or boosts, acceleration that they've then enjoyed?
Yeah, that's a tricky question because of our position. And I will preface what I'm about to say with, as a person leading a degree in quantitative management, it kills me to say we don't have much data. We have only had 2 graduating classes so far, and about 30% of our students transferred into the Langone part-time MBA program and have not yet graduated from that. So we are working with very, very limited sample size here to talk about graduation outcomes. And because our program is really attracts a lot of working professionals, we also don't have placement outcomes, because that's not what our students are looking for, right? And so it would make my heart so happy to be able to share with you percentages and numbers, but we don't have enough data yet to support that. So anecdotally, I will tell you, right, that we hear all of the time about both that promotion, career advancement, growth that students experience, not just after graduation, but during the program, and also quite a few career switchers. So thinking on our student population thus far, less than half had undergraduate degrees in business. So we are attracting folks from technology, from engineering, from education, from a lot of different other academic backgrounds. And as a result, we have folks from different industries and industry backgrounds, right? What is fascinating is we have quite a few folks from psychology and the medical field looking to develop business skills to go into administration or open their own practice, as an example. And so thinking about the fact that the majority of all of our students are not coming from a business background, we also have folks who, you know, are wanting to make the career switch from, I was just talking with a student who has a background in law and wants to work in finance on the advising side, which sounds unique, but actually makes a lot of sense when we think about all of the legal implications that exist in the finance world, right? And so there really are kind of these, I would say, three populations of student: ones who want to transfer into Langone, ones who want to get career advancement, raise, promotion, and ones who want to do a little bit of career pivoting. And we see all three. And I think that when we kind of were to reach out to them one-on-one and said, hey, on your application, you said that this was your goal. Did you reach it? Overwhelmingly, we hear that students are able to really kind of think about what their outcome, their intended outcome was, and achieve that. But it is hard in a webinar to present data on that.
Presumably, they're also now a member of the NYU Stern family, in the sense of, you know, an enormous alumni network in very influential positions. Are they able to leverage that both through classmates, but through that extended network at the school?
Absolutely. This actually just came up. We are hosting a session for our current students featuring our alumni so that they get a chance to kind of chat and talk about networking and things like that. And our alumni moderator was just talking about how one of her cohort members got a new job because he connected with someone, I think via LinkedIn, or we have an internal kind of alumni platform, found another Stern grad, not from MSQM, connected and got a new job that way. And so I think that as I think about our kind of petite graduation numbers for the MSQM, you make a great point about the broad Stern community and even the broad NYU community globally. And we're starting to see that kind of pay off as well.
Right. Similarly, I guess, Shani, with growing numbers every year, you're close to 1,000, perhaps, students, graduates of the program. So that itself provides a strong alumni network for them. Are you also then providing career coaching, sort of talking through the different sort of opportunities, mentoring? What role does the careers curriculum play?
Yeah, huge role. And so I think one of the differentiators of the program is that it has a dedicated career team, and we're very proud of what we established. We created everything from the ground up, but the vision of, again, our academic director was to focus on career outcomes and not rely solely on the UCLA Career Services. Of course, they are able and can participate in the broader UCLA community career activities and many fairs and opportunities to meet with employers, but we have established a dedicated career team that provide all of the above. And so on a quarterly basis, we have a career program that is dedicated to specific industries, specific concepts and trainings and preparations, workshops. So it can be from the technical assessment all the way to LinkedIn tips and tricks, and to meeting with a panel of data scientists representing different industries. Today, we have a big professional development summit that we are hosting on campus at 3 p.m. We have a list of many employers come to campus, and we will host a big employer reception, and students will have opportunity to learn in the first 2 hours, and then at the last 2 hours, they will be able to engage and network with employers that will bring with them specific opportunities that are open at their companies. Some of the leading companies, for example, are PwC, Accenture, some other banks that are participating, small and mid-sized startups that are joining as well. And so it's such an exciting celebration of our community and our employer partners. And so students can rely on our team for resume writing and preparation, for interview guidance, and also for specific learnings through those different programs. And I have to say that we measure very, very closely our outcomes, and we have a ton of data over the last 7 years. And we are proud of 91% of our graduates are landing career opportunities upon graduation. And so we're supporting with internship for summer internships for those who are interested in pursuing that. It is not required, and then the full-time opportunities upon graduation. And so there's a beautiful support system. And I think, from our previous conversation, if we'll ask our graduates, one other thing about their experience, they would definitely appreciate and honor the connection to the career team, the program office in general, and the tight connection and community that is created. So we're focusing on community and career outcomes big time.
And perhaps with the growing number of MQE alumni, they can then provide their feedback very proactively in terms of the chief economist at Morgan Stanley loves to ask this really tricky technical question during the interview, or you could are they a great source of support for the current students as they're going through that whole interviewing process?
Yeah, not only they provide the support, they also hire students from the program to join their teams. And so we created this ecosystem of now not so much generating connections with new employers. We casted a very, very wide net, but also with deepening relationships with employers, and specifically with our alumni who are now placed in those positions where they can reach out. And on a daily basis, I receive job descriptions from alumni for positions they hire on their team. They want to support their managers, and they want to definitely identify the next MQE to join the company. But also we created an archive with a lot of those technical questions and experiences in those interviews where a technical assessment was provided. And again, I'd like to say it again, that the assessment is a really challenging piece of the interview, not to get anyone nervous. It's definitely something that students are passing, but it's something that requires a big preparation. We know from the consulting world that the case interview is a industry practice. And so in the data science space, there is a technical assessment. So the need to have a career team behind you, and for any program that you're considering, I think it's a very important question and research to be done. What kind of support will I be receiving to be able to overcome those barriers in getting into a specific industry? And will you have the mentors and the industry experts to sit with me and conduct a mock interview, for example? So we do it on a daily, regular basis. And today we have a big session with 3 individuals coming to lead the technical assessment practice at the summit as one of the sessions that will be available.
Right. In the first year of Center Court, Arika, with John, I sat down with the Associate Dean, Issa, and we had a lengthy, fascinating discussion about Stern's emphasis on EQ. And of course, other measures. You talked about sort of test optional for applying to the program, GMAT or GRE, but this focus on EQ. Do you think that also then ties in with what employers share with you of characteristics that they really appreciate about Stern students in the MSQM? Is there that EQ sort of element that goes alongside very sophisticated data analysis?
Absolutely. Especially when we're partnering data analysis with management skills to be able to be a leader in business. Yes, you need that technical foundation and understanding of, accounting and finance and some of those things that we've talked about. And it is a, growing skill to be able to have that big data analysis and visualization and ability to communicate. But if you can't communicate about the data, if you can't present that to stakeholders in a way that gets you the buy-in, those skills can often kind of get lost in the shuffle. And so being able to have some of those, what often are called soft skills, I like to call them durable skills, of communication, presentation, agility, being able to navigate a business through, hopefully never again a global pandemic, but any type of mass disruption, are probably equally as important as those technical skills, because you have to be able to use them in a way that drives meaningful impact in your organization.
Right. You'd mentioned, Shani, of course, prior to joining UCLA, you'd been with another great West Coast school with the MBA program. Even from just the energy and the way that you share the experience, you seem to be incredibly happy. And as you reflect on the MQE, sort of standout aspects of the program as you have witnessed them, or feedback from the students or graduates that they share, and it's like, yes, that's what this is all about.
Well, there's so much, and I'm very blessed to be part of this community, and I feel so honored. And so for MQE, right, not MBAs, we're talking about my own students.
Yes.
I think they feel very, very blessed to be at UCLA, to be a Bruin, right? We're talking a lot about the true Bruin values. And so it's such a beautiful, authentic community. The campus is just stunning. And so you are invited to join this academic community in Los Angeles. And I think just landing there, it's just a huge realization of a huge accomplishment. And I tend to remind that to them at orientation and welcome them with the reminder that 16% of the applicants got an invitation to join the program. And so they are blessed and honored. And I think, the things that are really meaningful for them is then, one, being invited to the community, learn from the best in the field. The faculty teaching in the program are, world-known faculty, they're Nobel Prize recipients. And so the rigor and the learning and the growth and transformation, and I saw it throughout the 15 years that I have in higher education. So it's a transformative experience. At the other side of it, you look at yourself and you will be very proud of the accomplishment and who you became. And I think as they start to land opportunities and internship and a full-time opportunity, to join a company, then it's just a full circle. There is that great recognition of the support that they receive, the resources, the academics, the community, and wanting to come back. So, it's very easy for us to secure panelists for panels because our students are first and graduate to say yes, and they love to come back. And I think throughout the years, we grew and evolved so much and built a robust, team on the employer side specifically, so that some of them were able to see that as well. If you go on LinkedIn and you look for the Master of Quantitative Economics at UCLA, you can follow our community and see some of the partners and some of the events and the recognitions that we have, employers that are joining and students that are landing jobs. And so there's a lot of pride to be part of this community and appreciation for the learning journey.
Right. Enrique, you'd moved from the Midwest, 2 dogs, a new position at Stern. What was it that you saw in the school, and also this delivery, with online delivery, as you then witness with voices of a community coming from all over the world, and this sort of common experience that they're sharing through the MSQM. What for you is sort of the joy of the work that you do?
Yeah, so I think a few things. One, like my personal background is one that education transformed my life. Low income first generation student, so being able to pursue education really made a profound impact on where I am today. And so reflecting on that and knowing that in this role I have the ability to truly make change is incredible. And at an institution as amazing as Stern and NYU, um, the other thing I passionately love about online education is the ability to kind of level the playing field, so to say. So, as we think about the perception of education across the world, the United States has often been, one of the top countries to pursue education, but especially in the graduate space.
Mm.
However, to uproot your life, quit your job, potentially move your family and two dogs to New York City is astronomically expensive. And so being able to deliver online education to anyone, anywhere in the world, reduces that disruption, the cost, while still providing a very high quality education that, like I said, can be really, truly life changing.
Mm.
This is, I'm on my soapbox, but this is the space that I love working in. And as far as Stern specifically, I actually didn't uproot my life and move to the Midwest. They gave me some flexibility. So I'm in a very similar position, or move from the Midwest, I should say. I'm in a very similar position to our students where I get to benefit from this incredible Stern community and develop these relationships, and also visit the city and take advantage of that. And I think like being at an institution that kind of practices what it preaches, both to students, faculty, staff, is that, mission action alignment that I really value.
Yeah. Yeah. Great. No, and not a soapbox at all when you're so the way that you're then working remotely from Stern, but as such a natural extension of what the students are experiencing. So perhaps just a final word, Shani, with applicants reaching out, they're looking at that sort of 1 in 6 selectivity into the program, but ultimately just asking themselves the question about their next steps. How do you briefly encourage anybody to think about investing in themselves, what they really want from life, even a sense of purpose, in their work and meaning. How do you like to share your perspectives on that with potential candidates?
Yeah, that's a great, beautiful question. First of all, I think it's just a privilege to stop for a minute and ask those questions. And so if you are finding yourself asking those questions or seeking support in that realm, I salute you for that. And I think it's such an important moment to pause, right? And to think and explore and discover what is important to me. I facilitated last night a session in the Veteran Resource Center on campus at UCLA, just about that, right? The individual readiness level to pursue graduate education. And some of the questions that one should ask themselves as they about to embark a journey like this one is ask those questions and spend time in reflecting on your purpose and values. Personal values can seem so abstract, right? When you are about to tackle that, task of, identifying 5 or 3 top values. Many of our students will often ask for a list to choose from, right? It's not an activity that we engage in on a daily basis, unfortunately, right? And so as you think about graduate education, take the time to process, some of the information that you hear at this great event and, from all the professionals that are sharing, but also with yourself about what led you. Is it your decision? Is it something that someone directed you to pursue, which can be great because we are motivated by others, but in the right direction. So the program you want to pursue, you should look into, the cultural and the, values that those, institutions possess, and against your own values, and, to make sure that there is a great alignment. But definitely ask the questions, spend time exploring the self and the sense of self, and the clarity, gain clarity. And I think it's important because in the application itself, there will be so many questions about personal statement and, what motivated you to pursue this degree. And if you're just writing it down a day before the deadline, it won't be as robust and in-depth as if you spend time in the discovery and asking and writing, journalizing, So there's so much to do. And so I always encourage my students to take time to invest in, their own self-discovery and exploration, and in themselves in general. It's the biggest gift you can give yourself, the gift of education, the gift of transformation. Just like Erika, my graduate experience was very transformative. It's not a coincidence that I ended up, in higher education. I got so moved by the gift of education that I received, that I always want to give it to others, and encourage them to invest in learning, who I am, what I'm about, and how I can go out in the world and bring the gift that is me, to contribute to others. And so it's a beautiful thing to do through the pursuit of education.
You've both shared with great sort of personal insight how education has changed your lives in such positive ways. If somehow the Center Court Specialized Masters Festival could contribute for any of our viewers, to replicate that sort of impact and that journey. And of course, our viewers will be spending time getting to know both of your programs. Clearly, the MSQM at Stern, the MQE at UCLA, the incredible programs creating tremendous opportunities. But I think it starts with you and your two wonderful ambassadors for the program. You bring such passion and energy and enthusiasm, which I think just speaks to really believing in your schools, these programs, and the opportunities that they generate. So a very genuine thanks to both of you, to Shani from the West Coast and those palm trees. I hope that the event that the school is hosting later this afternoon is a great success. Erica, whether it's the Empire State in the Zoom or from the Midwest, it was lovely to have both of you with us. Thank you very much indeed.